A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first steps.
Exactly.
So, and here I have, it is an honor for me to chat with you in a more personal and intimate level, because I had met you in the past on during events with the professional migrant women. So this is a very more intimate space, and for that I thank you. You are in a wonderful position helping women as well. I am in a wonderful position also helping women. So it doesn't matter what angle you give it, but I think we all contribute to that ripple effect of creating consciousness in around the world. And as Maya Angelou says, every time a woman does something for herself, she does it for every other woman.
Yes.
So that is what I call that ripple effect of consciousness that I had been committed for the last several years to do this work and create that. Yes, you like that?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Wonderful. So you sent me some information for our audience wanting to listen to this recording. So this will be going into my YouTube channel. You are a professional migrant woman and a mother of 2 girls. Lucky you. Eldest daughter migrated with you to Australia, and
Yes.
your youngest was born here 2 years after your arrival. And you first arrived, Diana, you didn't speak English. So you dedicated 3 years to improve your language skills before re-entering the workforce. And so I'd imagine that those 3 years was also having a brand new baby with you.
Yes.
And having to go to hospital and giving birth and
The
finding
process.
help. Yeah, your journey came with significant challenges. And as many of us migrants, every migrant that we speak with, regardless of where they come from, there has been significant challenges, including a major career downgrade from being a fund manager in Chile to working as an assistant to financial planners. And however, through hard work and determination, you manage to progress in your career and reach a role that is truly passionate for you.
Yes.
And you now are in the field of sustainable investment, which is very close to your heart. I wanted to make a quick break here to say, for those that are not familiar with sustainable investment, and it refers to a range of practices in which investors aim to achieve financial returns while promoting long-term environmental and social value, combining traditional investments approaches with environmental, social, and corporate governance. So that's
Exactly.
what it means.
That's right.
And that is wonderful. So, wow, congratulations. I mean, what a remarkable woman you are.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity. So I'm more than happy to be part of this excellent opportunity. And thank you for inviting me to your show. Thank you, Maria.
How do you feel about the world now?
How do I feel? I feel like everything has been so quick. 10 years, I look back, and in 10 years, I have a different view of what I wanted to be, what I wanted to achieve. And now when I look back, I said, yeah, like that was a different person. Now who I am and all the circumstances that I went through, I became someone different, but I'm absolutely happy, absolutely, I believe, like thriving, and absolutely I feel like now I belong to Australia. When I came the first 3 years, obviously I didn't feel like I belong to Australia, and now this is my place, this is home. My kids, my husband, we all feel like really welcome in this country. We have made connections, friends, our family come and visited us, so it is a place that I call home. And being reintegrated into the professional world, the professional career, it made a difference as well, and it made a good difference. And now I've been able to contribute with my knowledge in investments and the passion that you mentioned in sustainability. And both of them are together, and I'm being able to contribute to society, to this world, to make this world better, a fair and more fair world. So I feel lucky and I feel really happy to be here with you, sharing my story. Definitely.
Awesome. It's amazing. I can see the glow around your face when you talk about that you feel you were in the right place at the right
Yes.
time, at this right era where we live. Because I saw, we could have born in Zambia or
Mhm.
somewhere else where it's so difficult,
Difficult.
in any, or
Yes.
stayed even, like if I had stayed in Venezuela, imagine the
Yes.
life that I would have lived,
Mhm.
so much economical upheavals. But it is such a privilege to be able to have migrated to a country that is considered first world. So it has
Mhm.
first world problems and it's not perfect, but is the work of women like you and I and so many others
Mhm.
that contribute to help others to
Exactly.
make it, the way we want to. Because I believe that the power of the feminine, power is rising up even more and more now,
Mhm.
and it's just incredible. When I came to Australia, it was
Mhm.
1987, so that is 37, 38 years this year. The changes that I had seen had been enormous, but I always felt very proud to be here.
Something very important is like when we talk about when we migrate here and when we start feeling that we belong, it is because we are part of the community. And that's so powerful when we are able to create that community, to be part
Mm,
of the community, South American or any other international community, Australian community. We is there when we really think we believe that yes, I belong, I have my friends,
mm,
connections, and that's so important. The first year I didn't have that community, and it is really important. So to everyone that is maybe new to the country, start making connections, start
mm.
reaching out to people, be part of a community, because it's add value, and it's there where you can find also some the help, the support that we need when we migrate to a new country.
Absolutely, we need that support. But I have several questions here.
Definitely. Yes. Uh-huh.
So many women, whether they are in permanent roles or in contract roles, they face unique challenges in maintaining a clear vision for themselves amidst career volatility. So, what are the challenges in maintaining a clear vision for yourself? How has that impacted your life? And what strategies have you found most effective in overcoming them?
Great. Thank you, Maria, for that question. It's really important, I believe, for migrant women, for professional migrant women. In my case, when I came to Australia, as you mentioned at the beginning, I used to
Mhm.
work in Chile as a fund manager for equity funds, Chilean equity funds, at a very large bank in Chile, large European bank. When I moved to Australia, I didn't speak the language. So the first year for me was to work as a waitress because I wanted to be exposed to the language. I wanted to be exposed to the culture. I wanted to make friends. So I said, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to gain all of those exposure and that experience. So my first job was as a waitress for 1 year. But then obviously I was determined, or I wanted to go back to professional life, right? So I had that goal in mind.
Mm,
That was my vision, my long term
mm,
or medium term vision. I wanted to go back to professional world.
mm,
Now, when after a year working as a waitress, I got pregnant with my second child. And during that time, given that I couldn't work as a waitress, because waitress, you have waitering, you have to, for example, to lift some heavy things. And I thought maybe it's not ideal with a belly, like a pregnant belly. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna work as a waitress, but I need to do something to improve my English and to bring my English to the level of professional level, right?
Mm.
So I took formal English lessons for almost a year as well. And after that, when my second child was born, I did a certificate in finance to mostly to understand how the financial institutions work here, and
Mhm.
to also to get the jargon, like the
Mm.
words that obviously I wasn't used to that
Mm.
words, the professional words. I wanted to learn that. So it was a project work of 3 years before I reintegrated to professional world. Sorry. And the first job when I started to apply to these roles, I had in mind that I will do the same thing that I used to do in Chile, because that's like for me was like obviously I need to do the same or better. Okay, so but you know what, Maria, I didn't really like what I was doing in Chile. It wasn't my passion. I like investments. I like economics, what I studied at uni. But as a fund manager, that wasn't my passion.
Mm.
So I spoke to myself and I said, do I really want to do the same? Or maybe this is the opportunity, this is the moment to start anew, to look for different opportunities. And maybe here in Australia, I'm going to find something better, something that I don't have access in Chile.
Mm.
So I was flexible. I was flexible. I was determined, definitely with a goal in mind to go back to professional world, but at the same time flexible in like maybe I don't need to go back to the same role. Maybe I'm gonna find something different. So that's what I believe it helped me. And it's a type of recommendation. If I can give a recommendation to someone, it's like be flexible and maybe you're going to find some other better opportunities. And
Mm.
in my case, I have to say, Maria, we are lucky here in Australia that people are able to change roles, change careers, and it's not perceived as a failure.
Mm.
Back in Chile and maybe in other countries of South America,
Mhm.
when you change your career, if you used to be a fund manager and then you work as a chef, for example, it is perceived like, whoa, that's a failure. It didn't work for you. You weren't a good
It's
fund
your fault.
manager. It's your fault, right? Like, oh, that's wrong. So
Mm.
you stick with that role, even if you don't like it, you keep going and you do that for life. And you end up your life thinking, I never liked this role. Why I kept doing this, right? Like in this profession, it was never for me. So I understood that very early here in Australia that people were able to change professions and it was okay. Because here opportunities and people being flexible, it is appreciated. Like it is okay if you change your mind and one day you were an architect and the next day you wanted to be an actress. That's fine. Like it's your life. No one is gonna judge your life, your decisions. So that I had that in mind, and I said to myself, okay, it is okay if I'm not gonna be a fund manager and I start from the bottom as an assistant of financial planners. And anyway, the goal is to go back to professional job.
Mm.
So I accepted that first role as a great opportunity, and from there I started to move and looking for opportunities where I really wanted to be. And I was really lucky to learn from this sustainable investment field, which it wasn't a thing in Chile when I was working in Chile. When nobody spoke about sustainable investment or ESG, it wasn't a thing. And here it was important, and I got to learn that, and I loved it. When the first time that I heard about it, when I understand what was it, I thought that's my contribution. There is my passion. There is where I can help, where I can contribute with my investment knowledge and my passion.
Mm. That's
And then
amazing.
I moved to in that direction where I am today. That story has been from 2017 till today, so about 7, 8 years that I have to go through that path. but it is really like where I wanted to be. So if there is something that I would like to say, it is, yeah, be flexible, have that goal in mind, but be
Mm.
flexible and be open to opportunities. And here it is a place for opportunities. For you came from a different country. So here is the right place to start anew, to be open to different things. So yes, I
Mm.
believe that could be like my recommendation. And what worked, the strategy that worked for me was that, like, that being open, having a goal, don't push that goal, and be open to opportunities.
Yes, exactly. What an amazing journey you have had, and I love your statements talking about flexibility,
Mhm.
adaptability,
Exactly,
because
adaptability.
they are
Mhm.
the skills, the traits, the capabilities of leaders. So for you, I can see
Mm.
that the sky is the limit
Thank you, Maria.
for being a young woman in a country. And I believe that our heritage, our Latin heritage,
Mm.
it helps us to develop this confidence
Uh-huh.
within ourselves. And if I may share, when I came to Australia, I was very curious because not many women, Australian women, worked. And I think it's because in the system helps them, right? So they pay
Uh-huh.
the mother to stay at home. And when I arrived here, my husband said to me, if you back to work, I will have to pay more tax. So it's best that you don't work.
Mhm.
And I thought, like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
That's very weird. And so, if I may share as well, I think in early 90s, there was a trend here changing for people changing more jobs. So I think up to the 80s, people kept jobs much longer. For example, I was married to a
Yes.
person that
Mhm.
had 40 plus years of work in the same place. So migrants in the beginning had that mindset of stability
Mhm.
and keeping what they had and try to escalate their professional work or whatever
Mhm.
it was, even if it was, factory work. They just wanted to keep it because if you think about it, migrants that migrated from the 50s and the 60s from all over the world, particularly Europe, they had been through a war and they had that mindset of scarcity
Uh-huh.
as well. So I think, yes, having that broad experience, it really positions you in this country. While, as you mentioned before, in our countries, is seen as a failure. It's just because you didn't apply yourself hard enough. Is that blueprint that we got or we brought from our parents?
Mhm.
They kept their jobs all of their life.
Exactly.
They lived in the same place all of their lives. They did the same thing. They worry about what the neighbors will say. And to be a woman today in this country, noticing in the back of our mind what we live in our cultures of origin and making a clear choice of living life fully, embracing the unknown, embracing opportunities, as you
Yes.
mentioned, and really starting anew. I love that word when you
Mm.
said that, starting anew. I think every day I start anew with the
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and it's refreshing. It's refreshing to have a new idea and to be able to, yeah, change directions, because we change. We people change, right?
Oh,
Circumstances change,
definitely.
and we do change as well. So why not?
Absolutely. The next question I have is someone deeply invested in promoting gender equality. What leadership qualities do you believe are essential for women to develop and enable them to thrive in environments that may not fully support diversity and inclusion yet? What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, about that, I believe the first thing that I believe is that women, we are very well prepared in these days to be leaders.
Absolutely.
So yes, right, like we are absolutely like the skills, we gain the skills, we study, we go to university, and sometimes we are even more overqualified, more qualified than our colleagues. In some cases, not always, but in some cases that happen as well. And to be a leader, what I think is like it doesn't depend if you're a woman or a man. For to be a leader, there are some qualities, right, like everyone needs to have. So for example, strategic thinking, or if I don't know, like guide with example, being decisive, sorry,
Decisive.
decisive, what is the word? Decisive,
Decisive.
decisive. Thank you, decisive in times of uncertainty, be fair, compassionate, etc. So those are the qualities that I believe that every leader should have, right? So it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. I
Of course.
don't believe that for to be a leader, women, especially women, we need to have like other set of qualities. Like qualities to be a leader are for me and those leaders need to, if they want to be leader, they need to feel those qualities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I also believe is that society needs to understand that there are different styles of leadership, right? And we are so used to have one type of leader, which is the white cisgender male, that anything that doesn't fit that mold, it is perceived like something different or something weird, that it's something is not right. We are not used to have women leaders. So if we think back, it's just it is new to have women leaders. Like the first prime minister, it was in Sri Lanka by 1960. In 1960, we had the first like female leader of a country.
Mm.
Then the first president of a country in Iceland, 1980. So we don't have a history of having female leaders. That's the reason that we think that women need to have a different quality, because we are not used to. So what I believe is that society needs to realize that there are different types, that women, we are not used to the women style leadership, but it is really like the same. It should be like the same type of qualities that we look into a leader,
Mm.
right?
Agree.
And well, if we look here in Australia, for example, we also in politics we also don't have like many women in representation of leaders. Like we only had one prime minister, who was Julia Gillard. Um, and in the ASX 300, the largest companies here in Australia, only 10% of the CEOs are women.
Mm.
So yes, so that's something different, that we are not used to have women leaders, and we should. And the style of women, it could be different, but it's also the same, like what we want from a leader. Okay. What? But I do understand your question from the perspective of yes. So given that we know that women are really well prepared to be leaders, why we don't have many women, right? Like why we are not at the level of 50-50% of women in and men in leadership.
Or more.
And right, yes. And what I believe is that we need to be more intentional, which is different to qualities, right? Like quality of leaders, we discussed that they are the same. But
Mhm.
what is our attitude? I believe we need to be more intentional. We need to communicate to our managers, our leaders, that yes, we are up for competition. We want to be part of the leadership roles in a
Mhm.
company, and we need to communicate that. We need to be more intentional and more targeting those type of roles
Mhm.
if we really want to pursue a leadership role. And at the same time, what I believe that we women need to do more is networking. That's it is important. It's not essential, obviously. Like you are not gonna be a leader, nobody's going to promote you just because you have a good networking skills or just because you have good connections. You have to prove yourself, you have to do the work, you need to have experience, and at the same time you need to be well connected. People need to know what are you able to bring to the as a value to the company, and
Absolutely.
they will never know that if you are not part of that network, if you are not in the in the circle, right? Like if you don't communicate, they don't know about you. So both things are very important. Do the right job, be professional, try to meet all the targets, etc. And at the same time as well, be active in networking, and not just networking with the, like you need to network with your colleagues as well, right? Not just with the senior people, but with people in your peers as well, and people outside your company where you work as well. So
Mm,
those are would be my suggestion. But I don't think we women need a different set of skills to become a leader. We need to have a different attitude to approach leadership, to target leadership. But in terms of skills, I believe it's the same for women and men.
absolutely. So thank you for that. Your point of view, and it reflects your wealth of experience. I love how you talk about being intentional. Is also about positioning yourself as a candidate, being intentional,
Mhm.
saying, this is what I want. This is how I prepare myself. And sometimes I found that many women haven't really prepared themselves to sell themselves
Mhm. Mhm.
for whatever reason it is. And that's why the work that you do, the work that I do, it helps them prepare with not only that vision but being intentional, learning to network. Because they say, for example, in business, a person will buy from you after spending an average of 7 hours with your material that you have actually
Mhm.
placed over social medias, could be products, white papers, videos, etc. Imagine the same for a woman. How would she then position
Mhm.
herself if she's not sharing her knowledge? It could be a white paper on an event. But I find that, yes, being intentional, networking, and leaders are leaders, whether
Yeah.
they are female or male. I love that point of view because, in my knowledge, leadership is about adaptability, self awareness, self reliance, self actualization, knowing yourself, knowing how you react to others, how straightforward you are, how resilient,
Mhm.
and how is your optimism, and so on. So they are traits of humanity,
Exactly.
specifically to a gender. A couple of quick questions,
Yep.
because as an analyst in sustainable investment, how do you see the intersection between sustainability and the investment world evolving? Particularly considering that the investment field is being more dominated by men. So how do you reconcile these? How is that sustainable investment and that investment world evolving?
Yes. Well, first I have to say that sustainability and investment, for me, they go hand in hand. They are, like for investment, you need to have a long-term view. On sustainability, everything that you do today has an impact in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important to realize that what we do in terms, for example, of the environment, if we don't limit the temperature to go beyond certain grados Celsius, grades Celsius, if we don't limit the temperature, that's going to have long-term impact. That's going to harm our economy, our world, how we see it today. And the same happen with society, right? If we, for example, don't limit or don't really do something in terms of, for example, modern slavery, that's going to have real consequences in the long term. That is going to impact return, is going to impact investments. So both, how I see it, sustainability and investment, they are very well connected. Both have a long-term view, and for everyone is listening now,
you, they go hand in hand, and they have to take into consideration the impact of the climate.
Exactly.
And
Social issues, like modern
yes.
slavery is one of the most important social issues today. There
Mm,
are some countries, there are some in the supply chain, there are some places in the supply chain that there have been affected by modern slavery, which is absolutely like, it's not something that we would like to have in our products. For example, if we buy something, we don't want to that product that we are buying has some type of forced people working, right? Like, it's not ethical, it shouldn't be like the right thing to do, and it has a really an effect, a negative effect in our economy, in our world, in our society. So that's the beauty of sustainability, and that's why I feel passionate of being able to connect these two parts of sustainability and investments. And in terms of what you asked me before about like this balance between women and men in this field, I have to say that I feel very comfortable in this part of the investment, sustainable investment, because I believe there is a balance between men and women.
mm,
When I go, for example, to conference, the attendees are, I would say, like 50-50, and the speakers or the panelists they always have a good balance between women and men.
mm,
What I believe it should be better is have more diversity in general, but that is for every field, right? Every aspect in life. It's We know that diversity of thoughts is a very important component. It's a key component of successful teams,
mm,
successful performance. So
mm,
that's something that I would like to see more: diversity in general, diversity of colors, diversity of sexual orientations. That's something that I believe we could do better. But in terms of gender, it is very well split. It is very well balanced. And
in the
in
sustainable
sustainable
one.
investment, in sustainable at least. In the
Mm,
general investment field, no, that's different. It's
mm-hmm,
still male dominated. We still see more male leaders than women, but at the same time, companies, they are very conscious about this, the benefits of diversity of thoughts, and one of the most basic diversity of thoughts is between women and men. So given that they are conscious, they are doing something to promote more women in leadership roles. And
mm,
I've been very lucky that in the last companies that I have worked, I have worked with female leaders, CEOs, CIOs, that they are absolutely, yeah, like amazing leaders as their male leaders as well. Um, so I realized that companies are making the efforts and they
mhm.
are doing the right thing, but there are still a long way. Like, let's say there is still room for improvement. Definitely.
Definitely, yes. So I think working in an environment where you are surrounded by leaders and female leaders that obviously you respect and
Yes.
admire, because in many occasions many of us have worked in places where we don't admire those
Mhm.
leaders, we don't really respect them, and it makes then a easy decision to move on,
Uh-huh.
but it all works into flow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. That's a feeling exactly. I feel like absolutely lucky, and it is. I believe that sustainability or sustainable investment attract female talent
Yes,
because
yes.
it's a more balanced, it's a more, I don't know, more friendly perhaps. It's more about like caring about society, which is not just for female, but it's maybe like it is something that female are more connected. I'm not saying that men are not, because I don't like
No,
to
absolutely.
think that way, like men
No.
are like this and women are like that. In
Yes.
sustainability, it's very a welcoming environment.
That's wonderful to hear. So, and I guess that is that competitiveness that there is in other fields of finance, but of course, men, women is about humanity, but women have that in their DNA about being gatherers and being connectors, while men in their DNA, they had that hunters. Women, by that DNA factor, then it brings us to be nurturers. That's why I feel, listening to you, that more women are inclined to work in this sustainable finance
Hmm.
field because of that nurturing that they bring and that long-term vision to care more for our environment, to be aware of modern slavery, as you mentioned,
Hmm.
and then having that disclosure in products or services create more awareness, because the consumer out there may not be aware of this modern slavery, and
Yes.
they're still buying products and t-shirts from somewhere where children are actually being forced to work.
Yes, forced labor is involved. Yes, so it's important to be aware of that. But definitely, like women and men are insustainable in investment. That they are really worried about that. It's not only women. I have met fantastic men colleagues that they are really aware and they are great in what they do in the sustainable field. So yeah, it's not just women, right? Like women, maybe we feel more welcome, but it is very balanced between men and women.
Tell us a little bit about your involvement with the professional migrant women and how you started that journey. And please tell
Yes.
all our audience about that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Maria, for that question. Professional migrant women is something very hard. It's a social enterprise, very, very close to my heart. I joined the founder of this organization, which is another Venezuelan lady that I believe you're friend with her,
Yeah.
Fabiola Campbell. And this
Yes.
lady, fantastic lady, she founded this organization 5 years ago. And I got to meet her thanks to my podcast. I have a feminist podcast which is called No Second Class Citizens. And I was really impressed with Fabiola's work. And I said, I have to interview this lady. She's fantastic. She's doing so many good things for the community, for the migrant community. And in that interview, more than a year ago, 1.5 years ago, I got to hear from her the fantastic world, and we made a really good connection. And a few weeks after, I thought I would like to be part of this, and I would like to contribute and help her with my ideas. I also had ideas how we could help support better our community, and I said I'm not going to save that for me. I'm going to share this with Fabiola. And we had a discussion. We came along very well. We started a friendship almost immediately. Because she is a very it's easy to be friend with Fabiola, I have to say. And we connected very well, and we decided that yeah, this is the right thing to do, like start this partnership. She was needing support because everything it was done by her plus volunteers, which is amazing, the work that volunteers
Mm.
do at Professional Migrant Women. But most of the work was done by Fabiola, so she was needing a partner. I was needing to contribute. I was in a position that I wanted to give back to the community. I had ideas, so we said yes, this is a great partnership. Plus, there is Lina Orozco, who is also part of the organization, and the three of us, we became partners. This
Mm.
was 1.5 years ago. From there, we have, given that now we are three, we are launching many programs, training sessions, and we are also about to launch a new product that is going to be able to support professional migrant women in every part of Australia. So that's our goal, to
Amazing.
support professional migrant women wherever they are, and to give back from our side, from Fabiola, from Lina, from myself, to give back to our amazing community, amazing migrant community, because we understand. As I said at the beginning, I went through those
Mm.
issues. I struggled at the beginning. I had my doubts about myself, and I didn't have a strong community like professional migrant women that could support me. So having that in mind, that's what we want to do. We want to make professional migrant women the community for the migrant women. So every migrant woman in Australia can thrive and can feel how I feel today, that I belong to Australia.
Mm.
That's important. So it is impressive. Everything that we do, we are three plus the work of the volunteers. And we are doing many, many things. We have so many plans for this year, and I'm so excited about everything that is coming, especially about that new product that we're going to launch very soon. very soon.
Beautiful. Well, they say synergy, is like one plus one is not two, but it's five. So
Exactly.
that
Yes.
means the three of you has that synergy that creates that amazing exponential growth of service. Your vision of being a one stop for
Uh-huh.
migrant women, because when I came in 1987 and then finally in 1989, I just went around and around. But I love that vision of being the place for migrant women
Exactly.
to connect, to learn, to network, to socialize, to exchange experiences,
Mm-hmm.
to do those programs, to
Exactly. To
grow.
find a job as well. We are going to be able to help them to find a job, to connect them with corporates. That's also what we want to do as well. We want to give a complete service. So
Mm,
we are also partnering with
right.
companies, so companies can be aware and can connect with these professional
Right.
migrant women.
It's
So
amazing.
it's closing the circle, it's closing the gaps.
Yes, yes. More and more, I can see that. That is amazing. And I can see and sense from the people that attend
Mm.
is the house is full. It's
Yes.
full house.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's the moment where we get to see women like us with an accent, like
Oh, yes.
speaking on the stage,
Yes.
like, and we think, wow, like one day I'm gonna be able to do that. Like you see, it is possible. It is possible to
Absolutely.
reach that level of professional level. Yes, it is
Yes.
possible through work, through connections, through training, through learning what it is needed to, for example, to succeed in your first interview, to improve your LinkedIn profile. Through all of those
Mhm.
trainings that we provide, it is possible. It's
That's
not,
amazing.
it's they are not alone. That's what I have to say. Professional migrant women, we are not alone. We have this amazing community.
No, of course, we are not alone. And
Mm-hmm.
having women like you being
Mm-hmm.
part of this country, being part of our community here in Melbourne, but also expanding your ripple effects, boundless potential. And I love that. I had loved so much this time, this intimate time, the joy to then hear this. And I will put the link. And it's been amazing. I will just wanted to thank you for this energy that you have, your beauty, your inner heart that expands everywhere. It's really reaching me here. And wow, it's I have enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria, to you for your kind words and for inviting me to be part of this great conversation. As you said, it was very intimate. I feel really like it was an easy conversation. I have to
Oh,
say, I was a little bit nervous at the beginning, but then because
no.
you're so friendly, you're so warm, that I feel like, yeah, I can be myself with Maria. So
Of
thank you,
course.
Maria, for everything you're doing. I follow you. I've seen your videos and the work you're doing on LinkedIn as well is really good. So yes, so kudos to you. Congratulations to all the work you're doing. So keep it up, please. Keep doing amazing things.
I've been also very determined. It's a value, and I there is no turning back. I feel passionate every day when I wake up, and I can be myself and be of service. Yeah, I took the leap of faith. I love it. Both in the right place at the right time.
Excellent. Yes, very well said. Totally agree.
Thank you so much. I will speak to you soon.
Thank you, Maria.
Ciao for
Bye
now.
for now.
Enjoy.
Ciao.
Bye.